Most guys are wearing one fragrance when they could be wearing something nobody else is wearing. Not by finding some rare $400 bottle, not by upgrading their collection, just by combining two things they already own. Fragrance layering is the most underused move in this whole space, and the reason nobody talks about it properly is simple. Fragrance brands make more money when you think you need a new bottle instead of using what you already have. The logic, the method, the combinations that actually work, and what kills a layer. That's everything you need to know. Quick thing worth knowing first. Fragrance layering isn't a TikTok trend. In the Middle East, this has been standard practice for centuries. People regularly layer 3, 4, 5 scents at once. Oud oil as a base, a floral spray on top, bahur smoke through the clothing. The idea of wearing one fragrance and calling it done, that's the Western convention. Wearing one fragrance isn't the standard. It's just the habit most of us grew up with. Here's the thing nobody explains. You can't grab two random fragrances, spray them both, and expect magic. Sometimes it works, sometimes it smells like you knocked over a department store counter. The difference is understanding what you're actually trying to do. There are two approaches, and understanding both changes how you look at your collection. Harmony. You take two fragrances from similar families and stack them to amplify what they already do. Two warm orientals, two woody musks going in the same direction, making each other louder and longer lasting. Simple, predictable, and honestly great for starting out. Contrast. You take something from opposite ends and use them to fill in each other's gaps. The citrus gives the amber an opening. The amber gives the citrus something to land on so it doesn't disappear in an hour. This is where the most interesting combinations come from. And it's what most people never try because they think it shouldn't work. Once you understand that, layering gets a lot less mysterious. So, here's how to actually do it. Heavier fragrance first. Always. This is the one rule that doesn't change. Your oriental, your woody, your oud-based fragrance, whatever has more density. Apply it to your pulse points first. Wrists, neck, inner elbows. This is your base. It anchors everything else. Wait 30 to 60 seconds, just enough time for it to settle before you build on top. Then, spray the lighter fragrance on top, either on the same spots so they blend directly on your skin, or on different pulse points so they meet in the air as you move. 2 sprays of each to start. You can always add more. You cannot unspray yourself in a crowded elevator. Before committing to a combination for the whole day, spray one fragrance on your left wrist and the other on your right. Let both settle for about 10 minutes, then wave them past your nose. You get a real sense of how they interact in the air without fully committing to the blend. Low stakes, fast feedback. One more thing, moisturize first. Hydrated skin holds both fragrances better and helps them develop together instead of evaporating off separately. Okay, so let's get into the actual combinations, and I'm giving you the why for each one because once you get it, you can start building your own. Prada La Homme as your base, Dior Homme Intense on top. Both clean, both iris forward, both polished, but different enough that stacking them adds depth without adding weight. Sophisticated without being aggressive. This is probably my favorite office combination. The One EDP by Dolce & Gabbana as your base, La Nuit de l'Homme by YSL on top. The One brings warm amber sweetness as the foundation. La Nuit brings cardamom and cedar on top. One of the most recommended pairings in the entire community, and it earns it every time. Warm, spicy, sexy. If I had to pick one date night combination from this list, it'd probably be this. Club de Nuit Intense Man EDP as your base, French Avenue Liquid Brune on top. CDNIM brings the smoky pineapple foundation. Liquid Brune adds cinnamon, vanilla, and cardamom. Together, they stop smelling like two fragrances and start smelling like one really expensive one. Smells like pineapple creme brulee. Try this in fall and thank me later. Kilian's Angel Share as your base, Sweet Praline Mise-en-Cere on top. Angel's Share is already cinnamon, cognac, and vanilla. Sweet Praline just doubles down on everything. Heavy, boozy, addictive. Cold Air carries this better than anything. Your winter weapon. Versace Pour Homme as your base, YSL YEDP on top. YEDP can get sweet and overwhelming in the heat. Versace freshens it up and pulls it aquatic. Lighter, breezier, easier to wear in summer than Y alone. Creed Aventus as your base, just one spray of Terre d'Hermes on top. One spray, that's it. Aventus brings the smoky pineapple, Terre adds vetiver and earthy citrus. The birch and the vetiver meld into something deeply woody and expensive smelling. Ultra classy. I've come back to this one more than once. Probably the best combination you can make from 2 bottles you already own. Now, 3 things that will ruin what you're building, and all 3 are easy to avoid once you know them. 2 heavy fragrances at the same time. 2 ouds, 2 thick orientals, 2 dense ambers. They don't multiply each other, they compete. You end up with a confusing mess that's way too intense. 1 heavy, 1 lighter. That's always the split. Too many sprays. Layering is not an excuse to double your count. You're already wearing 2 fragrances and the projection is going to be higher than you're used to. Start with less than you think you need. 2 sprays of each and see how that lands before adding anything. 2 fragrances that share an overwhelming note. If both lead with the same dominant accord, heavy ambroxan, aggressive pepper, whatever it is, they'll clash instead of complement. You want either contrast or harmony. 2 versions of the exact same thing fighting for space creates neither. Layering doubles the scent. It doesn't double the sprays. Also, one more thing before we wrap up. If you have a fragrance you like but don't love on its own, something that's been collecting dust on the shelf for months, layering might be exactly what it's been waiting for. Some fragrances are incredible as supporting characters even when they're not great as leads. A cologne that smells flat or generic alone can be exactly what another fragrance needs underneath it. The fragrance wasn't bad, it was just in the wrong role. I've had colognes I almost got rid of that became essential once I figured out what they layered well with. The 1 EDP on its own felt a little basic to me. Layered under La Nuit? Completely different story. Before you write something off, try it as a base under something you already love. The fragrance you were about to sell might be the missing piece for 3 other things in your collection. And honestly, you're going to mess up a few combinations before you find the ones that work. That's part of it. Try something tonight, then drop it in the comments. What you layered, whether it slapped or completely bombed. Genuinely curious what you guys come up with. Also, if you're still here, you already smell better than most guys around you. Might as well keep going. Hit subscribe if you want more of this. And the signature scent guide is right there on screen if you want to take this even further.